What's up guys, I'm Ben and this is Kame Trick. Today I'm going to be looking at is the DW180SX in Assetto Corsa realistic to drift? Now that is a nuanced term, so when I evaluate this car I'm going to be saying is it similar to a 2019 grassroots drift car that does have a decent angle kit on it. I drive a V8 240SX. It makes about 310 wheel horsepower and foot-pounds of torque, so it's not hard to drive, but it's also not completely easy to drive. You do have to pay attention, you have to use full throttle, but it also has a Part Shop Max limit brake angle kit on it. So a lot of the grassroots cars that you find these days have some sort of a big angle kit, whether it's FDF, GK Tech, Wisefab, Villains, Part Shop Max. And there's tons out there. It's going to be likely that it's got big angle. So my key goal in evaluating cars on Assetto Corsa is, do they feel relatively similar? Do they have good grip? Do they have good stability? Are they confidence inspiring so that when you practice them in sim and you go out and drive a car like mine in real life, is it going to make you a better driver, or is it going to make you more timid because you have learned not to trust the car from the sim? So let's find out. I picked these cool old school Koguchi colors. You'll see along the bottom we've got telemetry, I've got gas, I've got brake. For some reason e-brake isn't working, but you can see it in this camera angle here, and then clutch. So I'll run you through the track real quick. It's got this long entry into a nice medium left, and then this right hand turn where we're going to come out and then get super tight. Slowly build up speed through here and then try and hang it all the way down this straight to here. And then that's going to take us back up to the main straight. So it's a pretty quick, short little track. I'm going to start kind of easy in second just in case I have a rough time. So that was too early, I can already tell. Man, this car picks up angle really... Okay, so this car is picking up angle really fast. Like I'm getting to lock like that, which is a lot different than my car. It could just be that I'm not feeling the G-forces though and I'm slow. I don't want to go into the tire wall, and I'm pretty convinced that I could do just that if I'm not careful. But this car is giving me trouble for sure. Not a good enough clutch kick there. And into the tire wall.
But did you die?
So I'm basically having to fully park this car in order to get it around the tight turn. Oh, that's too much.
Did you die?
I promise I'm not this bad at actually drifting. This car does not drive like any sort of car that I've driven in the past 10 years. I'll start trying to articulate what's different while I drive. Alright, so at shallow angle, this car feels pretty decent. But as you can see, I'm really close to actually falling out of grip, and right there is what's weird. This car, if it is more than about 70% angle, picks up the remaining angle from 70% to its maximum lock really fast. It has snap oversteer once it's in drift. Another way to say that is it's completely unstable, in my opinion, when you're at large slip angles, at large angles of drift. If the car is not stable on power at big angle, you're not going to want to go to big angle. So you're shrinking the amount of angle that, at least for me, that I'm driving the car at. However, if you drive at low angle, it's really easy to fall out of drift and into understeer because of the speed that you're carrying. And for me, that is making it that much more difficult because I don't trust the car at big angle. So if I have this much angle, I'm already chopping off this bit. This bit down here is dangerous, so really we need to chop off that bit. So I'm trying to drive on this little itty bitty knife edge compared to how my actual S13 handles. So see, I'm using these tiny little bits of angle because I don't trust the car, quite honestly. And if I use very much brake and the car is at angle, instead of actually slowing the car down like a real car does with its front tires, this car just picks up more angle and goes into a spin. So, not only can we not use power at big angle, we also can't use the brakes at big angle, and the car doesn't slow down very much. So that's making it very difficult to do any sort of high-speed entry. So that means we also can't drift this car fast, or at least I can't. There's no side bite. I'm drifting way far to the outside. So I'm tiptoeing around kind of small amounts of angle, basically parking the car in these tight turns and throwing huge amounts of clutch kicks at it, which is, in a real car, going to break it pretty quick. We're not comfortable doing anything here because we're just going to mess up. Here I've got a pretty decent line. Look at how the car is shooting off to the outside. I feel like it just doesn't have any side bite either. Yeah, that's okay. I might sound like I'm complaining and just being a sore loser and that I suck, but honestly, this car doesn't drive realistically at all compared to my real-life car. Just to make sure that I'm not totally crazy, I'm going to go back to something that I know, and I'm going to cut a couple of laps. I'm going to try out the Tando Buddies, we'll do a different one, the S14. And I know you guys aren't huge fans of those cars, but I just want to do a couple laps and make sure that I can actually drive this track, because this is messing with my head. Alright, so Tando Buddies, S14. Let's see how this feels. Because we know that a different Tando Buddies car feels to me like my actual S13. We start off the same way, easing into the turn. Well, already I can tell, look at this, how much more composed I am. Up to third because we're out of revs. It's certainly better stability. Okay, I shouldn't have put it in the grass there, but and the gearing is different. However, this is already a lot more confidence inspiring for me than the DW180. Still taking kind of a weird line through there. I gotta fix that. And yeah, I'm in the grass, and that's my fault too. But, I mean, I'm so much more controlled. Alright, so I didn't put an amazing run together on this course, but I think that that shows that I'm a lot more comfortable in this Tando Buddies S14 than I was in the DW180SX. Why is that? The DW180SX, for me, compared to my real life car, does not have very good side bite. You throw the car in, or even just accelerating, doing like a power over technique, and the car glides pretty easily to the outside of the track. That makes it difficult for me to take the lines that I want and the lines that I'm used to taking. Second of all, it snaps to angle when it has more than about 60-70% angle, and it goes right past its limit of angle. It's just not stable when it's actually at a pretty big drift angle. This car and my real car, on the other hand, are very stable. They make plenty of traction, and if you want it to step out more, you have to actually give it more throttle. I feel like the DW car, once it hits a certain amount, even at kind of static throttle or just a little bit of extra throttle, it very quickly picks up angle and snaps into a spin, basically. Last but not least, the brakes on that car, for me, just don't work very effectively. If you are at a decent amount of slip angle, you're at a pretty big drift, and you use the foot brake, maybe with a touch of e-brake as well to help slow you down, normally the car is going to use those front tires that are facing the direction the car is traveling, and they're going to slow that car down quick. But this car, all that does, it doesn't really slow it down that much, and it makes it pick up angle, so even braking causes it to just snap, spin. It might be a very realistic simulation of an older style 240 that has maybe 5mm rack spacers and stock knuckles and stock lower control arms. Basically just not a lot of angle. But the fact of the matter is, it's 2019, and most grassroots cars now have some sort of enhanced angle. It may not be like a WiseFab kit, but at the least, plenty of missile cars now have cut knuckles, and they have extended and boxed lower control arms that are maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches wider per side than usual, and those cars make pretty big angle, and that makes them quite stable. Especially at this track, the DW180 is not the car for me. My goal is to get good at driving in sim and drive cars that are similar to my own, so that when I go back to my real car, I have more confidence and I drive it harder and better. I feel like if I spent a lot of time, I could learn the DW car, but I'm afraid that it would actually make me a more timid and weaker driver in my own car. So for me, that's not really going to fly. It could have also been the track. So this track, Suzuka Twin Drift, does have a lot more difference between the speed. You go fast into turns, have to slow down a lot, and then go around some very tight turns. The DW180 felt pretty decent when the turns were roughly all the same speed, but there's only a couple turns in this track where that's the case. On a course where the corners are all about the same speed, like Drift Playground, I might be able to do it. It's also not the fastest car, and so there were some cases where I really felt like I was running out of gearing in second, and I actually needed to pull third in order to link parts of the track. But between the fact that I felt like I couldn't commit to the throttle for fear of spinning the car as early as I normally can, and that it doesn't make that much power or that much torque it was ultimately not a car that I could do very well for this. If you guys enjoyed or even didn't enjoy this video, let me know why in the comments, and I'll see what I can do to improve other than just getting to be a better driver, because again, I am still new at this. This is like my 8th time playing this game. Let me know what car you want to see me drive next and what track you want to see me challenge next down here in the comments below. And if you haven't already, I hope that you'll check out some of my real car drifting as well before you tell me I'm a total scrub and don't know what I'm doing. I do have a little bit of experience, and I'm not the worst drifter out there. So, hope that you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. Peace.